The growl of diesel engines shattered my morning coffee ritual. I nearly dropped my mug dad's old green ceramic, chipped from decades of use. Heart hammering, I rushed to the window, coffee sloshing onto the oak floor. Through the mist, under ancient pines, 3 yellow bulldozers and a wrecking crew circled my family's lakeside cabin on Clearwater Lake. Their garish metal clashed with the lake's soft blues and greens. A man in a hard hat waved official-looking papers, directing his team with cold precision, as if erasing 60 years of my family's history was just another shift. Workers readied chains and hydraulic arms, casual as setting up a picnic, not demolishing a home. I couldn't believe it. No warning, no final notice, just destruction scheduled like a dentist appointment. Nausea hit as I burst out the door in flannel pajamas and a faded college hoodie, clutching ownership papers from my desk. The screen door slammed, a hinge snapping, leaving it dangling. Cold grass stung my bare feet as I ran, papers in a death grip, hair wild in the lake breeze. "Stop! You can't do this," I yelled over the engines, voice raw with panic. "I have proof this land's been ours for over 60 years. I thrust the documents forward, sunlight catching the seals. A few workers hesitated, but their leader, a grizzled man with a face carved by too many fights like this, barely glanced at them. "Not my issue, lady. Talk to the HOA. We've got orders, signed by their president." He tapped a paper in his pocket, voice flat, and waved his crew on. The dismissal was so callous I froze, papers shaking. A worker raised a sledgehammer toward Grandma's hand-carved porch railing where I'd watched fireflies, learned to carve whistles with Dad, fell asleep to Mom's stories. Memories flooded, the wood's smooth grain, Grandma's floral carvings, hidden family initials. As he tensed to swing, something fierce roared inside me. I'd always been the peacemaker, but this was sacred. I stepped into his path, barefoot, pajama-clad, but unyielding. "You're trespassing," I declared, voice steady, ringing clear. "Touch one board, and I'll have you arrested and sued." The worker blinked, hammer paused. Others slowed, eyeing their leader. His radio crackled with an angry voice. He stepped away, arguing heatedly, and for the first time, doubt flickered in his eyes, a crack in his detachment. It started 5 months ago when I inherited the cabin from Dad after he passed. I took leave from my bookkeeping job to restore the retreat where I'd spent childhood summers. On Clearwater's North Shore, within Clearwater Estate's bounds but built in the 1960s, it predated the luxury community. Dad constructed it himself, before developers turned the area into an elite enclave. I replaced warped planks, fixed pipes, kept its rustic soul planning to live here full-time, trading city stress for lake peace. Neighbors, mostly retirees and vacationers, seemed friendly. Then came the Clearwater Estates HOA's letter. It claimed my unapproved structure violated aesthetic standards, demanding renovation plans within 30 days. Stunme Cabin was older than their rules. I called their secretary, Ellen, who said all properties in their zone fell under their code, despite my cabin's history. I argued it was grandfathered. She suggested a board meeting. Then came a $600 fine for unauthorized renovations, followed by citations for my cedar siding and dock birdhouses. I ignored them, focusing on the cabin refuge, my legacy. Tensions rose with a certified letter ordering me to face the HOA board for ongoing violations or face remedial action. Curious about this group, I asked around. Most neighbors dodged the topic, but the Pattersons, an older couple, spilled over tea. "The HOA wasn't always like this, Mrs. Patterson whispered. "It was just road upkeep until James Carver arrived. A retired developer. Carver turned the HOA into a petty empire," they said, "with strict rules, high dues, and harsh fines. Resistors usually sell and leave." Mr. Patterson sighed. "I went to the meeting with proof the cabin predated their rules." Barely into my case, Carver polished in a blazer, smile cold cut me off. "MS. Harper, your enthusiasm's noted, but your shack fails our standards. Noncompliance risks liens or removal." His tone made shack sound toxic. I cited state law protecting older properties, but he nodded to a burly security consultant, and ex-copfo escorted me out mid-sentence. The room went silent as Carver resumed, unfazed. That night, a fine for disruptive conduct arrived. Harassment ramped up. HOA newsletters blasted my unsightly renovations with photos. Anonymous county complaints triggered inspections, stalling my work. Some neighbors snubbed me. Others left cookies, whispering support. The final blow, a notice on embossed letterhead, citing my willful noncompliance. The board voted to remove my cabin in 2 weeks at my expense. I reread it, hands shaking, at Dad's desk. How could they legally destroy my home? Sleepless, I climbed to the attic, where Dad, a meticulous accountant, kept records. The stairs creaked, smelling of old wood. A bare bulb lit the dusty space, packed with labeled boxes. I sifted through photos, tax forms, letters, sneezing in the dim light, back aching. Near dawn, I found a plain metal box behind Christmas decor, marked Lake Property, critical. My pulse raced as I pried it open, revealing folders of legal papers, starting with the 1962 deed, Dad's signature bold. Below were records of his dealings with the developers who built Clearwater Estates. Reading by dawn's light, I uncovered a bombshell. Dad didn't sell the land outright, as I'd thought. He'd signed a 99-year lease, keeping ownership while allowing development. A key clause stated that if his heirs reclaimed the deed with proper county filings, all community facilities built on the land reverted to us. It was a safeguard against developer overreach. Stunned, I reread it, adrenaline erasing exhaustion. Had Dad hidden a legal trump card? I photographed every page, made coffee, and planned. I needed a lawyer to confirm this wasn't desperate hope. By morning, I emailed scans to Sarah Coleman, a property law expert recommended by a friend. She cleared her schedule when I mentioned the demolition threat. Driving 2 hours to her office, I mulled the clause's power. Sarah, credentials lining her walls, studied the papers, eyebrows rising. MS. Harper, do you grasp this? She asked, adjusting her glasses. I think so, I said, but I need certainty. She traced the clause. Your father leased 35 acres to the developers, retaining ownership. Common then for family control. This map, she tapped Dad's hand-annotated survey, shows their clubhouse, pool, and dockscore HOA assets sit on your land. Comparing it to a satellite image, the overlap was clear. You can reclaim it all with proper notice, she said, smiling. The lease binds the HOA. We spent days gathering records and drafting filings, keeping it secret. Sarah warned Carver might sabotage if tipped off. The day before the demolition, we filed the claim and an emergency injunction to halt it. A judge, seeing the clear lease terms, approved it instantly. I didn't expect Carver to ignore it and send the crew anyway. As I faced the wreckers, my phone rang. Sarah. They're here, I said, watching the leader's tense radio chat, likely with Carver. Deputies are coming, she said. They have the injunction. Soon, 2 sheriff's cars arrived, lights flashing. The leader's face fell as deputies served papers. The crew backed off. Carver fought back, claiming the lease was fake or outdated. County records proved other conflicting documents existed. In court, Judge Margaret Reynolds rejected the HOA's delays. 3 weeks later, I sat in the courthouse as she ruled. The Clearwater Estates Recreation Complex belongs to Laura Harper per the 1962 lease reversion clause. The HOA must vacate in 30 days, remove personal items. The cabin injunction is permanent. All fines and liens are void. The room buzzed. Carver stormed out, red-faced. Neighbors approached, some congratulated, others worried about losing the pool or courts. I promised no community lockout. I just wanted the bullying stopped. News spread, triggering an emergency HOA meeting. Carver and 3 allies resigned. The clubhouse was packed. I spoke, offering a fix. I won't punish the community for a few. I'll lease the facilities back for $1 a year, but the HOA dissolves for a voluntary neighborhood group focused on upkeep, not control. Aesthetic rules become basic maintenance standards. Pre-existing homes like mine are exempt from non-county rules. The vote was near unanimous. With Carver gone, residents embraced the reset. A committee drafted new bylaws, prioritizing transparency and rights. Neighbors shared tales of stifled gardens, banned fences, vetoed paint colors. A month later, I stood on my Dad's dock watching the sunset gild the lake. A breeze carried pine and laughter from the pool, now free of Carver's petty rules. The cabin, once doomed, stood proud, its carvings intact. I'd resumed renovations, keeping its rugged charm against the HOA's sterile ideal. A new cedar sign read Clearwater Community Center, its carved letters mimicking Grandma's Raylingsa nod to my roots. The old HOA sign, gaudy and strict, was gone, cheered off by residents. Kids splashed freely. Picnics sprawled on once forbidden grass. Neighbors waved, some toasting me. The community was mending, rediscovering warmth. Sarah texted, "Lake Hero yet?" with a courthouse photo of my stunned relief. I grinned. I'd never sought heroism. I wanted to restore Dad's cabin, honor his memory, find peace. The fight was thrust upon me to save what was mine. In protecting my legacy, I'd freed a community from small-time tyranny. It changed me. I found grit I didn't know I had, a voice for justice, even in HOA battles. The cabin, once an eyesore, proved old roots run deep. Dad's attic box gave me more than a homite, gave me tools to save it. Loons called across the lake, their cries linking me to Dad, who'd heard them choosing this spot. Breathing pine air, I felt his foresight's weight. The sunset, untouchable by any HOA, glowed. I stepped through the fixed screen door, into the home that was always mine, ready to carry its story forward.